Welcome back to your live continuing coverage of CES 2018 right here on BeTerrific. I'm Michael Artsis. Thanks so much for joining us. We're broadcasting live from Central Hall, the Las Vegas Convention Center, high atop Central Hall. And we've got a company on now that has 2 CEOs and 2 co-founders. Very interesting. BlackBerry had 2 CEOs, or RIM, the company that was behind BlackBerry. We're really excited. At BeTerrific TV on all social media. I'm Michael Artsis here, the Terrifics. We've got an awesome thing to give away in a little while, a hoverboard. So stay with us on that. You can join the Twitch chat for more information on that. That is twitch.tv/BeTerrific. About 3 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be giving away on air live to U.S. residents only a hoverboard. So that'll be exciting. And I've got this gentleman here. He is from a company called Icaros, and you guys do fitness VR. Now, I was just at Samsung's VR booth, and I had fun down there. I did it live. The one thing I didn't like about it was that it was very passive. There was no interactivity from me. So they call it a 4D experience. Well, if it's a 4D experience, I'm missing the 5th dimension, and that is myself controlling it. There was no ability to have a competition. There was no ability to gauge how I was doing, and there was no ability to control it. I was just a passenger on the ride. Nice, fun, but not what I would ultimately want to do. It certainly gave me an athletic experience, though. I went for a snowboard ride, and I definitely felt the burn in my thighs like as if I was snowboarding. I actually tried on that, though, and I tried on all of it, but there is no control. Like, I leaned my body in when we went snowboarding. So I'd like to hear about your product and how it differs and how it focuses on fitness, because I do think this can be a fun way to exercise because you can be transported into a different world.
I can promise it is. First off, thank you, and I'm with you. Especially now with VR, you see so many passive things going on, and it's actually the first time technology gives us the chance to really interact with virtual objects, and you can hardly find any solutions that really get this really immersive experience for your entire body. And this is what we're trying to change at Icaros. We call it active VR. What we do is we combine 3 different things that we develop internally. It's hardware, software, and electronics. So we always try to find one holistic solution that gives you a workout and a unique experience. So for example, you said you were doing snowboard rides, for example. You know what, we're in Nevada, I could go snowboarding outside. We always try to get you into situations and activities that you might not be able to do outside, like flying, like parachuting, like diving with whales, that kind of stuff, and making it feel realistic though, and giving you a good workout whilst doing that.
So you've got an apparatus, I guess you would buy this, something like that, and that would, it's too big to bring here, but that would be the idea, and then you would be transported into that world. Now, how do you exercise? You're actually using your legs and your arms. So, like, if you're saying diving with whales, you're actually swimming and doing all that stuff. That takes exercise, especially core.
What you have is we do have a core exercise here. So when you can see the picture here, actually the exercise, I would call it a 3-dimensional plank. It's a planking position, but the entire contraption that you can see here is built like a gyroscope. So there's a pitch and roll axis, and you balance your body in a pretty strenuous way, and all the movements you do on the device are detected by motion sensors and transferred into the virtual world.
Now, is this all animation, or are you actually shooting footage while diving to actually give people the feel of the environment?
This is animated, so it is not 360
It almost
video
has to
content.
be because to move through the environment the way you would move through it is different than how I would move through it. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to go the way the helicopter or the drone or the diver has gone before. You want to go your own way. We can even use real maps that have been created by content providers, shot by drones with photogrammetry, for example. So we could bring you into real scenarios, but still, it would be a 3-dimensional world, not only 360 video content.
And how do you calibrate how much resistance there should be from the water or from the air and all that stuff?
The good thing is that there's 2 things that we always take an advantage from. One is we take you into experiences you don't know how they feel. Flying, for example.
But I do want it to be Superman? I want it to be realistic, though.
Exactly. And
I haven't, but if I had a jetpack and I flew, or I did a wingsuit, I'd want to replicate that on this.
Exactly, and we can achieve this two things actually. One is we put you into a very unusual planking position, and then have a 3-dimensional movement going on, combine it with the headset. People usually, they plank onto the device, the first thing, without having the headset on, they're like, okay, this is cool, never done this before, even without wearing the headset. And then combining your movements in the right way. So you're right. Developing those experiences takes a lot of time because we test and test and test and test a lot until the experience feels the way we would like to feel it. On the other hand side, for example, we would not do a bicycle simulator because I know how cycling feels, and it's a very hard thing to create a virtual experience that really feels like riding a bike or walking or running, like usual stuff you do on a daily basis.
But I also think, like you said before, that like we could go out and snowboard, I could go out and ride a bike, I could go out and run, I could go to any gym and ride a cycle. I don't
Exactly.
need a virtual experience on that as much as I do on other things. Do you monitor the calories burned, and how do we do that, and other health tracking things?
Yeah, exactly. What we did in the last couple of years, also when developing the product was launched, this product was launched in 2016. We presented at CES. Today here we're presenting a consumer product. But before talking about that, we did lots of research with sports university, with doctors, with surgeons, and yeah, of course we measured all that, calories burned, muscle stimulation, and we found out that the calories burned and the muscle stimulation is a lot higher than doing a normal plank on the floor, because you have to constantly balance out your body and you need all your bodies to do that.
Yeah, I hear that, and I think that that's very interesting, and I think that it's good. I don't know, would I get bored of going whale fishing or swimming or skydiving or whatever other experience? Do you keep the experiences fresh?
We do. We are constantly producing new software, new experiences. Also, each game that we develop or each experience that we develop includes different gaming modes. So for example, you can have a dogfight going on, you could go shoot down drones, you could just explore underwater worlds, learn about animals, you can explore new landscapes. So it can be very action loaded with shooting and all that stuff going on. It can be very relaxing, it can be a race going on. So yes, of course, we constantly provide new experiences.
Excellent. Janny is watching in Finland in our Twitch chat. He thinks this is awesome. He liked the Samsung one, but said the fitness aspect of this blows that away. And I don't want to compare. They're different things, but I think this is very cool. Legzone is watching. Wanted to give us a shout out for hustling and getting all sorts of great live looks for them into CES. And don't forget, we'll be giving away a hoverboard at 3 p.m. Pacific to somebody in the continental U.S. I don't want to say anyone. Quick question for you on this. And I think that's very interesting. You're going to be doing different approaches and different things, different worlds you're going to bring us into. What about the home unit or the consumer unit? This is commercially available, would be for gyms.
Exactly.
The home unit, is it very similar?
It is, yeah. Thank you for asking that question. We do have two major announcements on this year's CES. One is presenting the consumer model of what we call the Icaros Pro. Let me start with the Icaros Pro. We showed this device here. Feedback was great. 1.5 years ago we started shipping them, and we sold a few hundred units already all over the globe into fitness clubs, into entertainment facilities, and especially after last year's CES. We got back to Germany, that's where our headquarters is, and
it looks like German precision engineering, by the way.
Thank you for saying that. It actually is. They also build in Germany, by the way.
I bet they do. Are these aircraft grade, by the way, like for the fasteners and stuff, or is this automobile grade? I mean, this is not your standard,
This
screws,
is
nuts, and bolts.
Actually, it's funny. Actually, the company that produces them, the manufacturers, they also are producing certain items for the aviation industry. So yes, it's a very high standard product. Now, when people saw it,
yeah,
and when we got back to Germany, our inboxes were full, and they were like, "Hey, great product, but I want this for my living room."
Right.
Because these units, they go for around about $9,000. They are meant for businesses, they are meant for fitness clubs, and the price tag is certainly fine. But for a consumer, of course, $9,000, you think about it twice or 3 times. Probably you won't go for it. That's why this year we present the consumer model.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a very good idea. Now, this is like it's basically like any virtual reality thing you've seen in the past. I think of like Lawnmower Man. Without the huge rings, you've got a kind of a half moon underneath the bottom, and you hold on to handles in the front, you kind of lay down, and it definitely has the gyroscope look to it. It's very cool. Now, how much is the consumer one, and when is it available?
Consumer model looks a bit different. You can check it out on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. It's Icaros Flight. We do have good videos. The consumer model is much more compact. it's really made for home. This Unity, for example, weighs about 250 pounds. It goes for, it said, $9,000. The consumer model, we'll launch it this summer, and the price isn't 100% finalized yet, but it will be around about 2,500, so 2,500 US dollars.
Okay, in line with other products like this that are maybe like for exercise or virtual exercise.
That is what we're aiming for,
yeah.
Exactly.
And will you have the ability to compete with other people? Like
that is, thanks for asking that question again. That is our second big announcement here at CES. We just presented a global online multiplayer competition. It's global. That means you can be here in Vegas, I could be home in Munich, we can compete live in virtual reality. So it's really about putting sports into esports, real sports.
Very coal. I like that. That, I think, is the biggest aspect. I said all I want to do is compete against other people. It pushes me to get better.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. Sports has always been, it's always about challenging yourself, but also it's about competition and comparing yourself with others.
You're a young guy. You're the co-founder of this company.
Kind of.
How were you able to put the funding for this together, especially because I think when you started probably a year or two ago, maybe 3 years ago, am I correct in saying that?
We founded in 2015, that's
yeah,
correct.
So just about 2.5 years ago probably.
That's right.
I would imagine that VR was catching on, but still, especially for VCs and for funding, it's a hard concept to sell. And then you need a lot of R&D for this and a lot of money to build these things. So
That's
how were you able to do that?
I'll try to put a very long story into a very short one. Actually, the entire project started when I was working at my co-founder's company. He's running a design agency in Munich for several years, and I was an intern. I was studying industrial design.
Wow.
And it was my last year at university. And I told him, Michael, we're both into sports. For my master's thesis, I would like to develop a mind-blowing sports exercise product. And he was like, I'm with you, but let's make this one really futuristic. Don't bring the 100th bench press machine. And we said, okay, let's build an exercise machine that enables people to fly, to motivate them, to give them a unique experience. And that actually was before Oculus Rift and all the others showed up, because it was a university project. I could just play around stupid, and I said, okay, let's use VR. But VR wasn't existing back then, not as we know it now. So that was the first concept. And then I started working at Michael's company. We're sitting together, but still this was always in our head, because it's actually VR, tech, fitness, this is what we love. Then 1 year later, suddenly Oculus Rift was available. Developer's kit. We're like, okay, we need to order this. Maybe we can make our concept happen. Let's build a prototype. That's what we did. Now I'm speeding up a bit. We built a prototype. It was kind of crap, but the experience, we saw, okay, we're on the right way. So we initially built the second one. We showed it at some conferences and showed it to certain people, and the feedback was amazing.
And now I imagine that you funded this yourselves. Maybe he put in the seed money for it.
After presenting it and getting all this positive feedback, we had to decide, okay, now what do we do? We still have our jobs, we do our industrial design every day. Either we go 100% for this, or we let go, because we just don't have the time. So we sat together and actually we decided to found the company. That was with the help of the company where we started all this. It's called Hive in Munich. We did a small, how do you call it, family, friends, and fools, maybe, investment round.
I like that one, family, friends, and fools. There's a good one. I haven't heard that yet.
We raised, there was less than $500,000, but it helped us to get started and to get the serial production running. And we got it up and running, and it was maybe 5 months after that, we were selling the first systems.
But you had industrial design behind you from your knowledge, but what you didn't have was the software and the development of that software. How were you able to do that?
That was a challenge for us. It was a challenge for us, because when we started first, we had all the hardware knowledge, and we knew how to build hardware, and we knew what price point we'll end up with, stuff like that. But you're right, we needed the electronics and the software as well. We had experience in electronics too, because we were designing and developing electronics before. But when it came to software, we met one guy in Berlin. He was from London, and he presented a flying simulator kind of machine. He actually wasn't a hardware guy, but he was a very good software guy. And he helped us to create the very first prototypes. We still work together with the guy, but of course, in the meantime, we have a team of software developers now. It was hard to pick them without having the experiences.
Are you happy with them, or you think you need to? Are you happy with the development, or you think you need to improve it, or is it something that it's going to constantly always improve?
We are more than happy with the development, but we want to be quicker. That's why at the moment we're raising money again. We do have the hardware, we do have the software, we do have happy customers, certificates, all that kind of stuff. We do have a fan base, kind of. Now, so we are happy with what we have, but we want to grow it and we want to be much faster.
How does it run? It runs off the Oculus, off the phone, or you need a full Oculus to a computer or a Vive or something like that?
The cool thing is when we started, Oculus Rift and Vive weren't shipping. They had those developer kits, but the first ones to ship were Samsung.
The Gear,
so,
yeah, the Gear VR.
So within the development process, we switched.
And I like that because, first of all, the screens are good, and second of all, more importantly, you're not connected to a computer. You don't have any wires
That's true.
and stuff.
Now, in last summer, we also go. Since then, we also go for compatibility with Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. So now we support all of the three major systems. But we started with Samsung Gear with a completely wireless setup. And people love that.
That's wonderful, and I bet they do. And there'll be some wireless answers for the other ones soon. And we had DisplayLink on earlier in the week, and certainly they have some wireless answers.
At the moment, we're shipping. If our customer would like to go for the Samsung Gear, we ship with Samsung Gear. If he likes to have the HTC setup, he goes for the Vive. If he wants to have both, he can just switch between those.
And what about the idea that somebody could download this and demo it so they could see what the experience might be like even without the hardware to see if this is something they want to invest in? For us,
we do have lots of video content online on YouTube, so you can kind of get the feeling. And what we try, especially in the US, we try to be here as often as possible to really give people a go on the device, because you need to experience both. You need to experience the VR, the hardware, and it all running together. Actually, I think a big advantage of the system we have is that when you ask about trying out the VR without the machine, is what you do on the device is in line with what you see. So there's less motion sickness because your eyes confirm what your inner ears are telling you, so you're not getting confused. So you always need both. You need the combination from hardware and software to experience this. Next show we'll be attending in the US will be URSA. Don't know if you're familiar with that. San Diego, big bodybuilding fair, fitness fair. We are in two major industries. We are in the entertainment industry, we are in the fitness industry, and everything that's in between, like, of course, technology.
Well, very cool. I like what you're doing, and it's very innovative. You've done a great job. So congratulations. I like your story as well. I think it's a really good one, and I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for coming by and spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Give everybody the website to find out more.
The website is www.icaros.com. Icaros is Icaros. Also visit us on Facebook. It's Icaros Flight. Thank you.
Very cool. I'm Michael Artsis. We'll be back with a whole lot more right after this on your live continuing coverage of CES 2018. Stay with us.